Right now, something is happening inside your head, and you have no idea it is happening. Your brain is working, constantly, quietly, to decide what you get to experience. Every sound around you, every color your eyes pick up, every small feeling in your body. Your brain is sorting through all of it, and most of it throws away. Not because it is broken, because it is protecting you. This video is about that process, about the invisible filter your brain uses to shape the reality you live in, why it exists, what it does, and what the world would feel like, what you would feel like, if it suddenly stopped working. By the end of this, you will not look at your own mind the same way. Because here is the truth: you have never experienced reality as it actually is. You have only ever experienced the version your brain decided you could handle. Most of us grow up believing something simple. We see with our eyes, we hear with our ears, and together they show us the world exactly as it is. That belief feels right, it feels obvious, but it is not true. Every single second, your senses are sending your brain an enormous amount of information. Scientists estimate the brain receives something like 11 million pieces of information every second through your senses alone. 11 million. Every second. And how much of that do you actually notice? About 40 pieces of information out of 11 million. That is what your brain allows through. The rest is filtered out before it even reaches your awareness. Think about that for a moment. Right now, you are probably not noticing the feeling of your clothes against your skin, or the sound of the air in the room, or the tiny movements of your eyes as you read. Your brain is receiving all of that, but it decided none of it was important enough to show you. One neuroscientist described it this way: the brain is not presenting reality, it is constructing a useful version of it. And that word, useful, is the key to everything. The brain is not trying to show you the truth, it is trying to help you function. It filters reality not to deceive you, but to protect you, to keep you focused, to keep you sane. Think of it like a great manager at a busy company. Hundreds of emails arrive every day. The manager does not read every single one. They look at what matters, make decisions, and only bring the important things to your desk. Without them, you would be buried. You could not do your job. You could not think clearly. Your brain is that manager, and the filter it uses is the most sophisticated system in the known universe. As one psychologist put it, without the brain's ability to screen out information, the conscious mind would be completely overwhelmed within moments. So the question is, what happens when that screening stops? Imagine waking up tomorrow, and the filter is gone. You open your eyes, and immediately, everything hits. The light from the window is not just bright, it is sharp, painful. Every small variation in color feels intense, almost violent. You look at the ceiling and you can see every tiny crack, every shadow, every imperfection. You cannot stop seeing them. You try to focus, but your own heartbeat is distracting you. The sound of the refrigerator in the kitchen feels as loud as the thoughts inside your head. Someone's footsteps outside your door sound like they are right next to you. You try to speak, but before you finish one thought, three more interrupt it. You cannot hold on to any single idea long enough to complete it. This is not imagination. This is close to what some people experience during moments of extreme psychological stress or during episodes where the brain's filtering systems stop working as they should. And the result is always the same: overwhelm. The first thing that breaks is focus. When everything is equally loud, equally bright, equally present, nothing stands out. There is no foreground, no background, just an endless, exhausting flood of everything at once. Then comes emotional instability. The brain's filter does not just manage sound and sight, it also manages emotional information. It helps us process one feeling at a time in a manageable way. Without it, emotions do not arrive one by one. They arrive all at once. Joy mixed with fear. Calm mixed with panic. The brain cannot sort them fast enough. A researcher who studied sensory processing once said, when the brain cannot prioritize input, the emotional system goes into a kind of constant alarm state. It does not know what to react to, so it reacts to everything. Then comes the hardest part: making decisions. Every decision, even a small one, requires the brain to compare options, weigh information, and choose. But that process depends on filtering. You have to be able to ignore what is not important and focus on what is. Without the filter, every option feels equally urgent. Every piece of information feels equally relevant. And the mind freezes. Something as simple as deciding what to eat becomes impossible. Because without a filter, there is no easy answer. There is only noise. There are people who live every day with brains that filter differently. People whose sensory systems are more open, more sensitive, less selective. For some, a crowded room is genuinely painful, not because something is wrong with them, but because their brain processes more than most people's do. For others, moments of extreme stress, exhaustion, or certain medical conditions can temporarily weaken the brain's filtering systems. People who have experienced this often describe it the same way: too much, all at once, with no way to turn it down. Even in everyday life, you have probably felt a small version of this. The moment when you are trying to work, but too many things are demanding your attention at once. That feeling of mental overload where you cannot focus, cannot decide, cannot settle, that is your filter being pushed to its limit. It is not weakness, it is biology. So why does any of this matter? Why should you care about a process you cannot see or control? Because understanding it changes how you see yourself. When you struggle to focus, it is not always laziness. Sometimes the filter is overwhelmed. When you feel anxious in a chaotic environment, that is not weakness. That is your brain working overtime to manage more input than it was built for in that moment. And when you feel calm, clear, and sharp, that is your filter working beautifully. That is the extraordinary machinery of your mind doing what it was designed to do. A cognitive scientist once said, "Attention is not about doing more. It is about choosing what the brain is allowed to prioritize. The filter works best when you help it, when you give it quiet, when you give it one thing at a time, when you protect it from constant noise." Your memory, too, is shaped by this filter. The brain does not store everything equally. It stores what the filter decided was important, which is why calm, focused moments tend to be remembered more clearly than moments of chaos and overwhelm. The filter does not just shape what you see, it shapes who you are, what you remember, what you value, what you believe about the world. We began with a simple belief that we see the world as it is. Now, you know differently. You do not experience reality. You experience a version of reality, carefully selected, gently edited, and quietly delivered to you by a brain that is working every second to keep you focused, stable, and functional. The world outside your mind is vast. It is overwhelming. It is more than any human being could ever fully take in. Your brain knows this. So, it makes choices on your behalf, without asking, without you even knowing. And most of the time, those choices are the right ones. The things it removes, you did not need them. The things it lets through, those are what matter. But here is what you carry with you after watching this. Every person you meet is living inside their own filtered version of reality. Different priorities, different backgrounds, different nervous systems. Their brain's filter has shaped their world in ways completely different from yours. What feels obvious to you may be invisible to them. What overwhelms them may barely touch you. None of us are seeing the same world. We are each seeing the world our brain decided to show us. And that is something worth remembering. The next time you wonder why someone sees things so differently, the next time you feel overwhelmed, the next time the world feels like too much, your brain has been filtering reality your entire life, quietly, tirelessly, without recognition. Maybe it is time to give it a little credit.